Good afternoon, meteorologist Saylor here. The National Weather Service office in northern Indiana has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for a large part of the viewing area until 1:45 p.m. this afternoon. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at the maps here. You can see basically everybody in this yellow polygon, this yellow area from Fort Wayne south, basically all the way down to Portland, Hartford City, over into Marion, up through Huntington, Bluffton, Decatur, is included in this severe thunderstorm warning. Once again, until 1:45 p.m. I'm going to take off that arrow there, and I'm going to time this line of storms out for you as it's moving to the northeast fairly quickly, estimated 55 to 60 miles per hour. So until about 1:45, here's the timing of these storms. So the heart of it, not quite in Fort Wayne yet, but just a few minutes. Bluffton, 1:13. Decatur, expect these storms at around 1:28. Over into Bern, 1:34, and Paulding, Ohio. You can estimate these storms to be about 1:45 p.m., but you want to estimate a few minutes sooner than that to make sure you're inside as these storms roll through. We do not need you to go outside and take photos. Make sure to stay inside as these storms roll through. Once again, places in the path of this storm: Fort Wayne, Bluffton, Huntington, Ossian, Decatur, New Haven, over into Paulding, Van Wert, Hartford City, Portland. You look like you're in the line of these storms as well. Everybody in that yellow polygon, that yellow sort of box-looking thing, is under a severe thunderstorm warning until 1:45 p.m. And actually, the National Weather Service, we're going to stay on here, has just issued a tornado warning for parts of Ossian, or parts of Wells County. So this tornado warning has been issued for parts of Wells County. I'm going to try to get more information on the screen here to provide you with the latest updates here. Take off. And unfortunately, this is not popping up for me on my end, this severe warning. I'm trying to get you this information as quickly as possible. Let's time this estimated storm out in Wells County right now over the next 30 minutes or so. So Keystone, 109, Petroleum, 125, Reefsburg, 129, Domestic, 134. You need to be in your safe spot right now. If you are in Wells County, inside this tornado warning, I want you to take this very seriously here with this tornado warning. Switch over to our velocity here to show you what the National Weather Service is looking at with this tornado warning in Wells County. We're seeing some indications of rotation. It looks like just to the northwest of Pinedo. That is to the southwest of Bluffton. All of these storms are moving to the northeast. So, once again, switching back. So that tornado warning, and now there's a second tornado warning. That is in northern Blackford County and southern Wells County. Both of these tornado warnings go until 1:30 p.m. The second tornado warning, let's time this out for you here. See who's in the path of these storms. So Trenton, 125, Rydertown, 130. So if you are in either of these tornado warnings, you need to seek shelter now. I don't know if anybody can hear me out there. I need Chris Daniels in here now. So once again, 2 tornado warnings issued. Parts of Wells County, central Wells County. This includes Bluffton, the town of Bluffton. You need to seek shelter now. Liberty Center, if you're not already in your safe spot, you need to be there now. North Oaks, Lancaster, Veracruz, you're in this tornado warning. So this tornado warning in central Wells County essentially stretches from, I believe it's State Road 301 back through Indiana 3, State Road 3. That's the tornado warning in central Wells County. In southern Wells and northern Blackford County, this tornado warning stretches essentially from the county line of Blackford and Grant County all the way through along 18. Once again, time these storms out for you here to provide you with the latest updates. And I'll switch over to the velocity here as well. So Chris and I, we were just chatting off air a few minutes before that there are some little kinks in this line of storms as it marches to the northeast that we want to watch. These are the areas of rotation circled in yellow, just to the southwest of Bluffton and just to the north of Hartford City, that we're seeing some indications of tornadoes or some rotation. Chris, do you have NWS chat pulled up on either of those computers there?
I do not.
You do not? Okay. I just need to know if these tornado warnings are radar indicated.
Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Hartford City, moving northeast at 50 miles an hour. Also, tornado warning for southeastern Huntington County and southwestern Wells County. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. So these are, right now, at least they're radar indicated, which is what you're showing right now.
So, radar indicated tornado means that the National Weather Service Office has identified some spot of rotation on their radar, but that just means that there hasn't been eyes on the ground for this. So we don't know if there's a tornado on the ground or not. It just appears as if, and Chris, I'm going to take over the computer here.
Okay, go ahead, sorry.
Nope, you're fine. So this just means that if you're in the path of this storm, you need to take it seriously, because we don't know whether or not there is a tornado on the ground. You're just in these tornado warnings. Once again, into Bluffton.
And all these tornado warned cells are moving northeast at 50. So the storms are moving rather rapidly.
Yeah, so you want to be in your safe spot right now. Let's focus a little bit on the severe thunderstorm warning. It extends all the way from essentially just west of I-69, Marion, Huntington, all the way to the Indiana-Ohio border. So if you're in the severe thunderstorm warning, that area in orange, you want to stay inside as these storms roll through. If you're in the tornado warnings, that is central Wells County, so the town of Bluffton, you need to be in your safe spot right now. Just north of Hartford City in Blackford County, you need to be in your safe spot right now. Let's time this out for you. Once again, those in the path of this storm. So we expect these storms in these locations at this time: Fiat 118, Phoenix 127, Perryville 137, and Hartford 141. I always say this with radar. You want to make sure to account for a few extra minutes to get where you need to be safely. So you need to be in your safe spots now. Put that action into plan. Lowest floor, most interior room of your home is the safest spot. If you've got a basement, the basement is likely the safest. An interior hallway, an interior bathroom, closet.
If you have a two-story, go downstairs. Don't stay on the upper floors. As far as the severe thunderstorm warnings, which includes everything from southern and central Allen County down towards Portland, those warnings are in effect until 1:45. They have had reported wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour. And again, that can cause some damage as these storms continue to move to the east-northeast at around 50 miles an hour. So these are fast-moving line of storms as well, extending from Fort Wayne, the Fort Wayne metropolitan area, down towards the south. And it looks like some strong gusty winds continuing all the way down toward Hartford City.
So I'm looking at our debris signature here on radar, and I don't see anything that super sticks out to me.
We're not seeing what we had seen last Friday, where there was a debris, ball debris. All you need to know about that is sometimes the radar can pick up articles that are flying in the air, which would be more indicative of a tornado. We don't see signs of that right now.
There is one area, Chris, that I don't know if you can see it there, just sort of north of Hartford City, that maybe something, so just outside of Upland.
It's in the tornado warned area.
Yeah, that's the tornado warned area that we've been talking about in northern Blackford County. And they're starting to trim these tornado warnings back, Chris. So
that's what it looks like.
The one in northern Blackford County has now been trimmed and no longer extends back to Grant County. So Upland, you're in the clear right now. Renner, you're in the clear. If you are to the west of State Road 3 in Blackford County, the storms have moved through. You are no longer in the tornado warning.
But you are still in the severe thunderstorm warning. So it's great news that the threat of tornado has passed. But some of these thunderstorms can still produce wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour. And we know for a fact that what happened Friday evening, some of those tornadoes produced winds over 100 miles an hour.
And I'm going to switch back to the radar just real quick. Okay, so they now cut out the western part of Wells County.
Correct.
Out of that tornado warning as well. So let's go ahead and I'm going to zoom down to street level here. So Liberty Center, you're out of the tornado warning. Buckeye, you're out of the tornado warning, as is Mount Zion and Plumtree. This storm is just moving into Bluffton now. So if the winds haven't already picked up there, if you're not in your safe spot, like we've been talking about for the past 5 minutes, get there now. Lancaster, I mean, if you're east of State Road 1, Craigville, East 400 North, you've got a couple of minutes to get to where you need to be safely. Zooming out just a little bit.
And some of these storms are capable of producing large hail, large damaging hail with these rotating storms. And let's have a look at that again.
So that's where that couplet is, right over Bluffton, that we're watching for rotation.
So if you're in Bluffton and you're not feeling anything now, you will in the next minute or two as these continue to move off towards the northeast at a very rapid pace.
Yeah, Chris mentioned 50 miles per hour. I believe these storms are moving
correct
to the northeast. So you've got even less time than you had a few minutes ago if you're not already in your safe spot to get to where you need to be.
We have not had any reports of tornadoes on the ground, just so you know, at this moment. And sometimes there are radar-warned tornadoes that don't actually produce a tornado. We're picking up rotation. We have not yet had any reports of tornadoes on the ground.
So here's the full picture here. The tornado warnings go until 1:30 p.m. That's for central Wells County, a far southern portion of Wells County, down into Blackford County. The severe thunderstorm warning goes until 1:45 p.m. They're already starting to cut places out of that severe thunderstorm warning as well, Chris. So places that were in it to the west of I-69 into Grant County, Huntington, Columbia City, perhaps, Coes, you're now out of the severe thunderstorm warning. So as this line progresses, the National Weather Service Office is trimming back some of those warnings.
And this looks like this is turning out to be the second line that we expected coming through now. So what if you're viewing in Northwest Ohio?
I'm gonna interrupt you real quick.
Go ahead.
A new tornado warning has just been issued for parts of Adams County until 1:45 p.m. So this
including Decatur area.
Including Decatur. I believe this will be Kirkland as well. St. Mary's, you were just out of the tornado warning. That's in Adams County until 1:45 p.m. So this is the same storm that was tornado warned in Wells County that is continuing to show signs of rotation on radar, now getting ready to move into Adams County. So those in the path of this storm, let's time it out. Make sure you get to your safe spot in a timely fashion over the next 30 or so minutes. And I'm not going to believe that. We're going to use our squall line tool to give us a better estimation of who's in the path of this storm.
And all these storms continue to move off towards the east-northeast at a pretty good clip. So there you can see some of the towns that are in the path of this storm right now, including Decatur. Estimated time at 1:30. It is 1:20 now, so that's not going to take, you don't have long to get to your safe spot, which should be in a basement if you have it, or an interior hallway on the lowest floor of where you live.
And I always warn, give yourself an extra few minutes to get to where you need to be in your safe spot, because while this is the latest up-to-date information we can give you, all of this information has to be processed by computers, so it's still a minute or two behind. So while, yeah, it might be in Decatur at 129, says our radar, you want to say 125. But as soon as these warnings are issued, you need to put your plan into action and get to where you need to be safely. I want to look, see what...
And by the way, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So the debris signature here is a tool that we use to see, similar to last Friday, unfortunately, was showing signs of debris being lofted into the atmosphere. We are not necessarily seeing that here. Now,
it was quite evident last Friday. Today does not look so, which is encouraging, but there's no guarantee.
Yes. So along this front edge of the storm, the unfortunate part is that's the areas we're seeing that rotation where you would look for debris, and it's all sort of muddled up in there. It's all looking a little rough. But we look at the velocity here, and those colors have started to get a little bit brighter, Chris. So put the storm warnings, and new tornado warning actually just issued. So let's cycle back through. A new tornado warning has now been issued for parts of Jay County until let's see here, pop up for me, until 1:45 p.m. So let's
And these storms are continuing to all move northeastbound. You can tell by the way the red tornado boxes are drawn. And Bern, if you live in Bern, you need to take cover right now.
So the area in green that's on top of Jay County right now, that's not the area of concern. It's the area back off to the west in sort of that northern corner of Blackford County, just getting ready to move into Jay. So parts of Jay County, you're in this tornado warning. Southeastern Wells County, you're in this tornado warning.
I mean, it's almost a continual tornado warning if you literally could merge the two at this point.
Yes.
And for folks viewing in Ohio, what's the likelihood of this strong thunderstorm and possible tornadic line moving towards you? Very high. If you're watching in Paulding or Defiance counties as well. And these are the cities that are going to be in the main path of this tornado-warned storm. You can see Hartford at 129, 133 at Bern, and then out to Blue Creek at around 139, if it maintains the speed it's moving at in the direction right now.
So this is the rotation. The velocity shows us an indication of rotation within our atmosphere that the radar is picking up. The area just to the southeast, just to the east rather, of Bluffton is starting to show brighter colors here, that brighter red than what it was before, giving us an indication that there might be more rotation in the atmosphere in that tornado-warned storm than before. So focusing there.
So we're looking at an area that is north and west of Veracruz for possible rotation as the center of it, although it's not extremely obvious at this point.
Yeah, so State Road 124, if you live along State Road 124 in Adams County, you should be in your safe spot right now. It looks like this storm is located, like Chris mentioned, just outside of Veracruz, sort of at the intersection of 124 and 301, and it's tracking to the northeast. So this storm, it would cross over 124 into Adams County. The other location, that we're seeing.
So we're talking about two areas. Talking about tornado warnings for East Central Wells County. That's going to expire in 5 minutes, and then the tornado warning for northeastern Blackford, South Central Wells counties, that expires around 1:30 this afternoon. And additional tornado warning for Wells County, Adams, and Jay County. That's continuing now until 1:45. That's the longest running one, even though it's only for another 20 minutes or so.
So just north of Pennville, out near, I believe it's Ballback, but correct me if I'm wrong, anybody out there. That's the other area of rotation that we're watching. Doesn't look quite as strong as the one to the north, but that still doesn't mean that there's not something happening on the ground. Radar indicated typically means there's not eyes on the ground to see what the storm is actually producing. This is also me saying, do not go outside and try to see what's happening for us. Let these tornado warnings expire. You need to be in your safe spot. You want to stay as safe as possible as these storms roll through. Looking to the north into Fort Wayne's still under that severe thunderstorm warning, but it is going to be cut out here shortly. These storms are getting ready to roll into Paulding County, Van Wert County. So the severe thunderstorm warning, Chris, I would not be surprised if it's extended over into the counties for our friends over in Ohio. So Paulding County, Van Wert. It
likely will be, because if you can go back toward Harlan there, just to the east of Harlan, there's a pretty nasty looking cell now that is right at Maumee and not far from the Ohio line. So if you're watching from maybe Antwerp, I would be prepared for a strong thunderstorm as these are moving east very, very quickly. It could get to Woodburn, where it is just south of Woodburn along 101, out to Hicksville in no time at all. We're talking sometimes in 5 or 7 minutes as these are moving at speeds of 50 to 60 miles an hour, and out to Rosedale by about 1:32, which is only maybe 8 or 9 minutes from right now.
So you're going to hear us repeat a lot of information. I want to cycle back through and give you the latest updates that we're seeing. Tornado warning still in effect for parts of Wells County, parts of Adams County, both central and southern. Same for Wells County, parts of southern Wells County. Both of these tornado warnings go until 1:45 p.m. Chris has mentioned this before. These storms are moving quite fast. So if we put the radar loop on them over the last hour, you can see the direction in which they're moving. So they're moving to the northeast. So Decatur, Bern, Monroe, over into Portland even, although you're not in a tornado warning, still stay inside as these storms roll through. If you're in a tornado warning, you want to make sure to seek shelter immediately.
Go to the, if you don't know where to go, if you have just a one-floor house, go to an interior room without windows, like a bathroom or a closet or something. Those are your safest places. If you have a basement, own a two-story home, don't be on the second floor. Be downstairs in an interior room, preferably one that doesn't have a window.
So these storms have not quite made it to 27 yet. So Decatur, I would estimate you have maybe a minute to get to your safe spot, to get to where you need to be safely. Right now, as far as we know, these tornadoes are not confirmed on the ground. They are radar indicated tornadoes, but you still want to take them seriously. It just means we don't have eyes on the ground to tell us exactly what's going on. Timing this out for you once again. Let's put the clearer picture there back up. I wanted to show you the radar to see where those storms are moving. Let's time this out for you once again. Decatur, it's right on your doorstep. So get to your safe spot right now. Over the next 15 minutes or so, these are the locations. So Decatur, 1:30, St. Mary's, 1:36, Wren at 1:39, and Convoy at 1:41 p.m. Off to the south, the tornado warning that's into Wells, not Jay County, Wells and Adams County, southern Adams County, going until 1:45 p.m. Timing these storms out for you here. Bern, you've got 3 minutes to get to your safe spot. You need to make sure that you're taking your precautions. Put your sneakers on. If you got a bicycle helmet, get to your safe spot. Put that bicycle helmet on to help protect you. Blue Creek, 137. You want to make sure to get to your safe spot as quickly as possible.
And we did want to reiterate, even so far, we have not had any reports of tornadoes on the ground. This thunderstorm complex has the potential in itself to produce winds of 60 to 70 miles an hour. So you certainly want to stay away from any window. That's why we tell you go to an interior room with no windows. You won't have to worry about breaking glass as these storms continue to move towards these. Caleb circled a couple of spots now he's watching of interest.
So the one to the north, just to the south of Decatur, that's moving into Decatur as we speak. That area has seemed to weaken a little bit. That bright red color that I was showing you earlier looks a little less bright, as does the location into southern Wells and southern Adams County. But I want to add a caveat to this. These locations are really far away from the radar site, really far. And so that radar beam is scanning up really high in the sky. So we don't know quite yet if anything is actually touching the ground. We were told just a few moments ago that the sirens were going off in Decatur, and appropriately so. Decatur is in that tornado warning until 1:45. Bern, you are also in that tornado warning, a separate tornado warning, until 1:45. They have extended, Chris, the severe thunderstorm warning into Mercer County, which is out of the Northern Indiana National Weather Service office.
Right.
But our friends in Mercer County, you want to keep a watchful eye as these storms start to move towards you. But they're also starting to cut out some of those places to the west of Fort Wayne.
Yeah, you can see the main line now has already raced through Fort Wayne. It's on the east side of Allen County now. And these warnings will likely be extended into probably Van Wert County, whether it be a tornado or severe thunderstorm warning for what's happening right now in Adams County. Again, this whole line is moving rapidly into western Ohio now, and looks like there's some pretty good thunderstorm cells in the western part of Defiance County and the northwest part of Paulding County right now.
So I'm just looking at the latest update from the National Weather Service office. These tornado warnings are still radar indicated. So once again, that just means there's not eyes on the ground to tell us exactly what's happening. But once again, a good portion of Adams County are in two separate tornado warnings. Both go until 1:45 p.m. Zooming into Adams County a little bit, you can see Bern, Decatur. You're both in those tornado warnings. Other paths in the way of these storms, and we might as well lump them together because they're so close.
Right, headed toward Rockford, over in northwest Ohio, Wilshire.
So Convoy, you've got about 15 minutes until these storms arrive to you. Convoy, Ohio, I want to stress, and same as Van Wert, you are not in the tornado warning. But like Chris mentioned, there's a good possibility that these warnings extend over into Ohio, whether that be the severe thunderstorm warning or the tornado warning.
This whole line, generally speaking, is moving from west to east, moving a little bit more toward the northeast. But as we mentioned, the line is moving so rapidly at 60 miles an hour. Imagine if you're driving and you don't have to stop for red lights. It can make tremendous progress. It looks like now the northwest part of Paulding County is getting a pretty good thunderstorm, as well as the western part of Defiance County. And again, the severe thunderstorm warning now has been extended down toward Mercer County in west central Ohio.
So I'm going to put this debris signature back on just to see if we can see any indications of tornado debris possibly being picked up and put into the air. I don't.
Not from this.
It's not clear that that's what we're seeing. There's a couple of pixels there that are a different color than that bright red.
Could you go a little bit further south down toward Portland? Have a look.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Okay, I thought I saw something, but I apparently did not.
Yeah, it's sometimes hard to tell, especially when these areas of rotation occur on the leading edge of these storms, because you get all of this confusion from the radar site, unfortunately. So see where all that blue is. This is where all of this rotation is, and if a tornado was on the ground and if it was lofting debris in the air, this is where we would look for it. But there's no telltale signs that that's happening.
If you are viewing us from some of the areas north of Allen County, there are some thunderstorms headed your way, but there have not been any tornado warned storms anywhere from Allen County to the north so far. It's not a guarantee there won't be, but right now the tornado warnings are focused from Decatur on down toward Bern, and probably getting pretty close to the Ohio line right now.
There's a couple areas of rotation that we're watching here, and it actually looks like there might be two areas of rotation just outside of Decatur, one of which circling Elm Tree Crossroads.
So just south of Decatur itself.
Yep. So just south of 224, and then another area just north of 224 in Adams County in the same tornado warning that we're watching. So this is State Road 101 that we're seeing that area of rotation in the northern part of Adams County. So east 1000 north and north 500 east, not quite there yet, but moving that way.
And some of these storms have the potential to move at 60 miles an hour. And the thunderstorms that are there now, possibly issuing the tornado warning for rotation, the storms alone could have winds of 60 to 70 miles an hour. So you don't have to have a tornado, actually, to have some real damage from the storms as they continue to move off to the east.
So the estimated wind speed is 51 miles per hour in this storm. This is estimated. Radar is just taking its best guess to see how strong these winds are within these storms. Here's that third area of rotation into southern Adams County. Salon, just south of Bern. That's that other area of rotation that we're watching. Like I mentioned before, those colors are becoming dimmer and dimmer, but that might partly be due to the fact that these storms are moving away from radar. Yeah, it's so far away from radar.
There are areas between where you are now, Caleb, and northwest Ohio that is kind of like if you're driving around and you lose cell coverage for just a short period of time before another radar can pick that up. You're not always getting the clear story, and sometimes it's a literal guess as to what's actually happening.
And Chris mentioned earlier there's a strong line of storms moving into Paulding and Defiance, Ohio. It appears that that area is moving faster than
the southern extent
of it. So it looks like this area of storms is moving faster than from essentially, we'd say, Monroeville down through Jay County.
And they haven't been warned, which leads me to believe that the storms now in the western part of Paulding and Defiance County may have weakened slightly from what they were maybe 30 miles to the west a little while ago.
So as these storms are moving through, this is the current tornado watch. So
it's been trimmed back as well.
It's been, yep, like Chris mentioned. So Steuben County, DeKalb County, Noble County, Whitley County, Huntington, Wabash, and Grant County are now out of the tornado watch. That goes until 4 p.m. That's this line that's moving through right now. So it looks like this is the main show that we're going to see as this system moves through. Jumping back to radar, once again, let's cycle through. Show you the current situation. 2 tornado warnings are in effect for parts of Adams County and southwestern Wells County. Both of these tornado warnings go until 1:45 p.m.
So 6 more minutes.
And it looks like to me that this storm, at least near Decatur, is outrunning its warning box. And as of this moment, the National Weather Service Office has not issued an extended tornado warning, which would then go into Van Wert County.
And we're probably at the speed it's moving, we're only 5 or 10 minutes from getting into Van Wert County as we're looking now still for any rotation.
I just want to time this out for you here because there's a couple tornado warnings into Adams County. So still in the path of this storm. Wolfcale 139, Black Creek 142, Van Wert 148, Ridge 150, and Hoagland in Ohio at 1:53 p.m. So this is the estimated time that these storms are going to move in. You want to make sure, if you're in this tornado warning, to be in your safe spot. You want to be where you need to be as quickly as possible. That way you're staying as safe as possible.
And with the speed these are progressing eastbound, we repeat again, you don't have a lot of time. You need to get there now, and you say, well, get where? If you don't have a basement, just find an interior hallway or a bathroom that doesn't have a window. That's probably the best place you can be during a tornado. If you have a basement, obviously the greatest place to be would be in the basement. These cells are moving pretty quickly eastbound now. We can see the strongest cells in that tornado warned area. That's that red box. Just to passing through Decatur now, headed over toward 33 in Ohio, extending down toward Bern. Again, you have another red triangle there. Those are tornado warnings till 1:45. The areas shaded in yellow that are our larger area are severe thunderstorm warnings, and those go for a little longer now. They've been extended into northwest Ohio from Van Wert and Rockford down toward just around the Portland area. If you are in this line, if you're in the tornado warned areas, like Adams County, for instance, you should be in your safe space now, although, as Caleb mentioned a moment ago, we have outrun the tornado box. Will they issue another tornado warning perhaps in Ohio? They haven't as of yet. Van Wert's still under a severe thunderstorm warning.
Once again, here's the timing of those storms. Black Creek 142, Rockford 147, Van Wert 150, Mendon 154, Wetzel 158. And Chris, they've just issued a new severe thunderstorm warning for that area that we were watching earlier, north and east of Fort Wayne, Paulding County, Defiance, into Bryant County, Ohio.
That line of thunderstorms has really held together fairly well when it came over from Whitley and Huntington County about an hour ago. The line is moving mainly to the east, northeast, probably between 50 and 60 miles an hour. And again, there's the latest on the tornado warnings continuing until 1:45, and we're at 1:42 right now. Could they be extended if you're viewing it from northwest Ohio? They could be. They've already outran the box, which means they're moving at a pretty good clip.
And I will say as well, Chris, that one of the tornado warnings that we can see behind the scenes here, according to the National Weather Service, and it's, I believe, the one that is over Decatur, this looks like it's going to be allowed to expire. There's no discussion as to whether they're going to extend it or not, but it looks like the tornado warning here
that encompasses a large part of Adams County,
I believe, according to what I can see here.
Well, we'll know in about 2 minutes.
Yeah. So once again, regardless of whether you're in a tornado warning or a severe thunderstorm warning, you need to stay inside as these storms roll through, because they are capable of producing strong damaging winds or tornadoes. There has not been confirmation yet as to whether there is a tornado on the ground. Radar indicated tornado warnings mean just that. The radar has identified some sort of area of rotation that could be a thunderstorm producing a tornado.
And there's been a lot of uplift in these storms, and we've always considered today a pretty big potential for hail. Normally we get hailstones here the size of peas, which doesn't really produce any damage. But some of these, even in the severe thunderstorm warned storms, can have potential of producing hail an inch or greater, which can damage things. I have not seen any reports so far, Caleb, of large damaging hail, at least at this time.
I've not. So the tornado warning that is actually in southern Adams County, that is the one that is going to be expired here momentarily. It might take our weather system a moment or two to have that go away. But we're going to stay on here, 21Alive and Fort Wayne's NBC, for as long as we need to. And now we no longer need to. So one final update here, because the tornado warnings for Adams County have now been expired. There are severe thunderstorm warnings, basically from the Ohio-Michigan border all the way down through Mercer County. Those for Van Wert go until 2 p.m. For Paulding, Defiance, and Bryant County, or Williams County in Ohio, that goes until 2:30 p.m. And then one for Mercer County, the severe thunderstorm warning goes until 2:15 p.m. Timing these storms out one last time, moving quickly, 50 to 60 miles per hour to the northeast over the next 35 minutes. Here's where these storms are going to be. Van Wert, 149. Defiance, 152. Napoleon, 203. St. Mary's, 207. And then outside of our area, Lima, Ohio, until 2:18 p.m. If you are in this severe thunderstorm warning, stay inside as these storms roll through. That's going to do it for myself and meteorologist Chris Daniels.
I've got one more report. Derek Motor Car in Fort Wayne on Coliseum Boulevard. There's damage to that building, and there's a crew on the way. The good thing about Fort Wayne and areas west, it looks like we are going to be seeing less damaging thunderstorms. They've already moved off to the east. So again, we're tracking that line of storms, now moving into northwest Ohio, down toward Portland, areas to the west of there, just seeing lighter showers. And this is probably the main line now that continues to eastbound. I think Caleb, we're allowed to stay on the air a little longer here.
Perfect.
So
it's what we want.
You want to update us on the folks watching in northwest Ohio, what they're expecting?
So currently, all of our friends in Ohio, Defiance, parts of Defiance, I should say, Paulding County, Van Wert County, up into Williams, down into Mercer County, under severe thunderstorm warnings. Zooming in a little bit closer, you can see strong thunderstorms, lots of red, lots of orange on this map here with these severe thunderstorms. Let's look at the wind with these storms. And there is a lot of bright red along this line. There's a lot of bright red along this line. But we don't know exactly what's happening with these storms. We don't have eyes on them on the ground, which is good news. Hopefully, you're staying inside as these storms move through. The downside of this is that the radar is really far away from these locations, so it's scanning up into the upper parts of the atmosphere, which is why we tell you to stay inside, because we don't know exactly
we're in an area where
what's happening.
We're in an area where the radar, there may be a blank spot. This is a very tricky area in west central Ohio to forecast for storms. So that's why we're probably at least overcautious. But if you're from Van Wert up toward Paulding, be on the lookout for severe weather. And whether there's a tornado warning or a severe thunderstorm warning, you want to get to your safe spot. And that is on the main floor of where you live. If you have a basement, all the better. If you have a situation where you're in a building and you're on the second floor, if you can get down to the first floor and an interior hallway or a room that has no windows, like a bathroom, that's the best place to be during a tornado or a severe thunderstorm. As we continue to watch this line now in northwest Ohio, from Van Wert down toward Defiance County, there's a pretty strong line that continues to work eastbound now. And this line is moving pretty quickly at about 60 miles an hour. So we'll zoom in here and we'll show you where the main thunderstorms are. They're approaching the Rockford area now, down towards the south, and moving this line northbound. Just to the west of Van Wert now, we're getting reports of some strong thunderstorms. They're warned for thunderstorms only. There have not been any new tornado warnings issued. Out toward Paulding, some strong thunderstorms. Just to the west of Defiance and north of Defiance toward Archbold, it looks like a pretty nasty thunderstorm extending all the way north up to north and west of Brian at this time. Caleb?
So behind the scenes here, the National Weather Service office, they are saying that the severe thunderstorm warning in parts of Paulding and Van Wert County that go until 2 p.m., the possibility of a tornado. So what are they looking at here? Well, I'll show you. They're seeing an area with a little bit of a kink in the line of those storms. So they're watching an area here just to the west of Van Wert. And these little kinks here are these areas where we're trying to see some rotation on the radar. So that's why they're saying within these severe thunderstorm warnings that a tornado is possible. Is it happening? No, we don't know that it's happening. That's because we don't have eyes on the ground. We can't tell exactly what's happening. We're not getting reports along this edge of thunderstorms of whether there's a tornado on the ground or not. All we can say is that it's possible, or that strong damaging winds are possible. So that's why we always say you need to stay inside in your safe spot if you're under a tornado warning, which there are none right now. But if you're under a severe thunderstorm warning, you want to take that precaution as well.
That's a very good point, Caleb, because we always tell people that any severe thunderstorm can produce a tornado. Any of them can. And just because it's not tornado warned at this moment doesn't mean there couldn't be one. Let's just say for this scenario, there isn't any. These storms are packing a punch. These storms are capable of producing winds into the 60 to 70 mile an hour category. And this is a pretty solid line. Sometimes the lines have big breaks in them. This looks pretty solid from Van Wert on down to Rockford, Ohio. And again, these are moving eastbound. What could these storms contain? They could contain strong gusty winds, also large damaging hail, although we haven't had any reports that I know of large damaging hail. But that line goes northbound all the way up into Paulding County. And again, this line is moving eastbound at between 50 and 60. And we've already seen from the velocity that wind speeds of at least 50 miles an hour have been seen in this line.
So all along this line, let's time this out one more time, because it's still impacting our area. It's still impacting your friends and family. So the storms are anticipated to arrive in Ridge in 1 minute. Salina at 1:58 p.m. and Delphus 2:03, St. Mary's 2:07, and American at 2:13. American is closer to Lima, Ohio, which is outside of our viewing area.
And speaking of our viewing area, if you can zoom out a little bit, I want to talk to people that are maybe watching from Fort Wayne or LaGrange or Angola. We're in the clear for now, but will there be another line develop? There is some heavier rain back towards the south and to the west, but those don't look like thunderstorms. We've seen two lines come through here, one around 11 a.m. and this line now, which we thought yesterday might come through a little bit later, but the timing today has been pretty well. You're viewing from Allen County or maybe down toward Wabash and Huntington and Grant County. The worst is probably behind you unless we see signs that a third line is forming. Right now, that looks like just rain, and with a severe line off towards the east, from all the way from Paulding all the way down toward east of Portland into northwest Ohio.
So I want to flip the velocity. We're going to stay here on radar because I was talking about those little kinks earlier in the line.
Right.
And I'm going to zoom in here so you can get a better picture. Notice how that line is not necessarily all straight. There's a little bit of a kink in that line. So it goes whoop, just a little bit of a bend. In those areas are the areas of possible rotation. There's another one up near Van Wert. Those are those areas of possible rotation. So it corresponds really well on our velocity here. Those little kinks in the line is where we're seeing some indications of broad rotation. Is that rotation reaching the ground? We don't know.
They do match up literally perfectly from what you just showed us. If you can go back to the regular radar as we continue to watch this line. Right now, it's right around Van Wert. Rockford, you're getting a heavy thunderstorm. These are not tornado-warned storms. They are severe thunderstorms, but I want to reiterate, Any severe thunderstorm could produce a tornado. That's why we're staying on the air and we're looking for that type of evidence. What we do know for sure is these are probably producing strong gusty winds, possibly torrential downpours. We never thought flooding would be a huge issue because these are moving eastbound at probably 50 to 60 miles an hour, so there's really no time to accumulate a lot of rain. But again, they are moving eastbound pretty quickly. Behind it, we can already see now the rain in Decatur and Adams County down toward Bern has lightened up substantially.
And I've only seen one or two reports, fortunately, one or two reports from these storms that have moved through, one out of Grant County and one out of Wells County. The Wells County report just says that there's a tree at the intersection of Hoosier Highway and East 200 South. There's no other indications with that report, whether there was anybody nearby, if there's houses nearby. But that is just to the southwest of Bluffton, that report of damage. Other than that, from what I'm seeing, is that the reports of damage are few and far between, fortunately.
We have apparently now, we've got some live shots up. We're going to take you to 1001 North Coliseum right now, where at Derrick Motor Car, there was some damage with the line of thunderstorms that rolled through a little bit earlier, and it looks like there was some substantial damage there. That's right along Coliseum there, here in Fort Wayne. As we have seen, well, you can see some debris all over the place. It looks like perhaps roofing.
Yeah, that's the indication that I'm getting. And if you don't know exactly where Derrick is, it's sort of near where the old Value City Furniture is, I believe. It's near that area. Excuse me. Yeah, Fort Wayne Transmission. It's right near there on Coliseum.
It looks like crews are there. We don't have any indications if there's a power outage there or not, but you can clearly see debris has been thrown around as that thunderstorm rolled through Allen County, about an hour or so ago. This is the same line of thunderstorms that we're tracking now into northwest Ohio. And again, some of the video coming in live now, this is what we're looking at in Fort Wayne along Coliseum. That's at 1001 Coliseum. Derrick Motor Car, this is a live shot that we have right now showing some of the damage. Looks like some of the signs literally were blown out with high gusty winds. Was this a tornado or straight line winds? Well, that'll be an investigation, but we did have wind gusts reported about 50 miles an hour or higher as that line of thunderstorms came through Fort Wayne and Allen County a little bit ago. So this is the type of damage we could see from the line of storms that Caleb's looking at right now in northwest Ohio. Tell us a little more about that.
So these severe thunderstorm warnings are going to continue in Paulding County. So you can see the eastern part of Paulding County and then into Defiance County. That's going to go until 2:30 p.m. Both of these severe thunderstorm warnings have the tag of tornado possible. What does that mean? It means there's the possibility of some rotation. So even if there's not a tornado warning, you want to make sure to stay inside as these storms roll through, stay away from windows. You want to take severe thunderstorm warnings as seriously as tornado warnings, because like Chris mentioned, and you just saw, that these severe thunderstorms that have rolled through
can cause damage.
Can cause damage even if they're not within a tornado warning. So once again, one final update. A severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for Van Wert County until 2 p.m. For eastern Paulding County until 2:30 p.m. and then down into Mercer County until 2:15 p.m. Make sure to find the live updates on Facebook, Twitter. That's 21Alive on Facebook. Make sure to download the 21Alive First Alert Weather app for the latest updates. But for now, for meteorologist Chris Daniels and I, we're going to send it back to regularly scheduled programming.